Hello Disc Golf World, Josh Casanova here, BDGA number 51054. Going to talk to you today about player status and go over what's in my bag. First of all, have a grippy Q bag. Thank you Grip for your awesome warranty. Had a messed up bag, sent it to them. 2 weeks later I had a new bag, so thumbs up to Grip. I'm going to start off with my putters. I throw PA1s from Prodigy. I'm an Innova guy, and I just love these putters. I didn't want all of them. Got one day, swore by it. I can throw these, super stable, great glide, really reliable in the wind. You can flick these, throw these Annie, throw them dead straight, pretty much do anything. I got two that are strictly for putting. One of them I'll actually throw every once in a while, but this one is strictly for putting. Then I've got one that's a little newer, and this one I flick off the tee, backhand Anheuser's, Heiser approach shots, flick Annie's, flick Heiser, pretty much anything with this. Then I have one in 400 series plastic. Those were 300S. This is 400 series plastic. Dye from Cole Moeller. This is actually the blue frozen banana stand from Arrested Development. Great dye, thanks Cole. This thing is, for those that played in the Southeastern Amateur Championship, this thing comes out all the time. I can drive with it, approach with it, flick, do anything I need to with it. I'm not too worried about it hitting trees or anything because the plastic is so durable. It's great, it's grippy, just awesome disc. I'm going to go to my mid-ranges now. Last Prodigy disc I carry is an M1. Innova doesn't really have anything like it. I'm going to try their new Viper, but that's yet to be tested. So with the tournament coming up, I'm going to stick to what I know. I've got an M1 in protoplastic. This thing is super stable. I can flick it. I can throw it Annie, do an S. I can Annie flick it. I can throw it into a headwind really hard and flat. It won't turn over. Great disc. I did use a Gator for a while, but this thing has more glide than a Gator, and I don't like the fact that a Gator dies out as much as it does, where this will, when it stables out, still it has a forward penetrating fade. As far as the meat of my mid-range game, I'm a rock guy. I've got an old beat-up. I've only been playing 2 years, so some of the beat-up discs that I had, I bought that way so that I would know what their true characteristics are. For example, this Ching Skull Rock is great for Anheuser's, anything that I need from 220 to 280 feet. It's strictly turnover shots through the woods. You can throw a little bit of Heiser, it'll flip, and get through somehow. It always finds a way. Great disc, got a great deal on it. Been a fan of it. It's in the bag ever since. Got a KC Rock, one KC Rock with a bunch of dome. This thing I can throw with an Annie and it just stays on it, but doesn't cut. It just tries to pan out. Can't throw it in a headwind, doesn't have enough stability. You can throw it dead straight with no wind and it just flies forever. It's one of those discs that if you throw with the right amount of angle on it, the thing seems to never come out of the sky, so you gotta have one of those. Great disc. Then I've got a 12-time multi-purpose rock. This thing, all my mid-ranges are max weight, just so you know. This is my favorite disc. This thing I can throw on a Heiser, it's super stable. It'll stay super stable. I can throw it into a headwind, it'll go straight. throw it on ante, but you have to commit to it, and it'll stay on the ante. Pretty much do anything you want. It's one of those discs that when you don't know what else to throw, even in a situation where you need to throw possibly a driver, get this, crank it out 300 feet safely, and get your par. Then I've got a freshie, KC Pro Rock. It's a yellow one. I don't really throw yellow KC Pro or colored KC Pro plastic much, but this thing is super stable. It's super stiff. It's got a stamp, Autometry, BRWRD Disc Golf Association Autometry stamp that my wife designed. Thank you, Leah. Great disc, great for headwinds. Throw it on the hyzer, never come out of it. Doesn't matter the wind you're dealing with. Just a really reliable one. Great for off the tee. Everybody needs fresh rock in their bag. It's one of those ones that, one of those discs that you put a fresh one in, you know what it's going to do. The rest of them you can work and do what you have to, but this one, hyzer. Then I got 2 Rock 3s, one in KC Pro Plastic. The one in KC Pro Plastic is really good for long distance wood shots because it goes super straight. You can put a little bit of ante on it and get squirrely through the woods if you need be. This one hasn't hit too many trees. I've had it in the bag about a month. Throw it on a big hyzer, crank it out about 310, no problem, maybe a little more. In South Florida, it's hard to get some of these mid-ranges to go really far, but this one, every once in a while with a tailwind, getting out about 350, which is shocking, especially for someone like myself. I don't throw very far. Good disc to have, the KC Pro Rock 3s. Then I've got Champion Rock 3. It's a Zobel Open one. It's the only one I've seen down here. This thing is a workhorse rock. It's one of those Champion rocks that throw all the time for stable shots on hyzers. If you want to throw into a wind flat, you just don't crank on it too much. It'll just carry and go. Great for off the tee. It handles a lot of power. Great. Now we're going to go into fairway drivers. I throw a lot of fairway drivers. We don't have a lot of par 4s down here where we're located, but it's one of those things that everybody needs. You need variations of fairway drivers. I think it's one of those things that improve your game the best. Not everybody understands that if you don't throw fast enough to throw a speed 13, then you're never going to get full distance. I kind of got better once I disked down to fairway drivers. So we're going to start with most stable. Once again, Autometry stamp. Flat top Destroyer, or flat top Firebird. This thing is a meat hook. If I can get it out 300, I'm lucky. The thing just throw it in anything. It's great for flick rollers. It's pretty much a utility disc if I need to throw under trees or whatnot. I use this disc. I flick it mostly because it can handle it. I can flick into a headwind and the thing will handle it like nothing. Then I have 2 Banshees. One I got for Father's Day. It's beat in. You can anti-flick it. You can throw it backhand. It's stable in the wind. Got an ace with it right before the Southeastern Amateur Championship. Love this disc. Then I have a freshie. This thing is like a mini Firebird. Throw it into a headwind. Hyzer out real good. You can flick roll it. I flick a lot. I'm one of those players that plays 50-50. 50 flick, 50 backhand, or whatever it calls for. So to have a fresh Banshee in there is always good. It's almost a cross between a T-Bird and a Firebird, which are 2 of my favorite discs. Now, some people consider it a driver. It's a speed 9, but I throw a Valkyrie. I've got a Jolly Launcher max weight Valkyrie that I won in a point series. Used to make fun of the guys that throw Valkyries. Put it in my bag as a joke when I won it. Started throwing it on hyzer, flip straight, never turns over. Great disc, easily 350 with no effort. When I need to get out a little further than T-Bird and I don't want to have to pull or crank and just want to throw something nice and easy, Valkyrie. Seriously, for those that thought the Valkyries for a long time were jokes, check them out, the new Jelly Launcher plastic. They are amazing. Now T-Birds, I got 4 T-Birds. I've got one Glow T-Bird. Thing is overstable. It's not as meat hook as a Banshee or a Firebird, but you can throw it into a headwind and it'll keep going. It'll never turn over. Throw it on an Annie and it'll S-curve. Great for drives up to 320, 330. Or into a headwind when you need something a little shorter. Don't want to throw mid-range. I've got one Beats 2006 Calmol T-Bird. This one I got from a friend of mine. It's beat nicely. It's got a lot of stability though. I can still crank it super flat and it'll go about, the furthest I've ever thrown this thing is about 375. Thing is just laser straight. I've got a 11-time T-Bird. Beat in, got a great deal on it, got it for pretty inexpensive. Love this disc actually. It turns over. It goes right, but it's one of those discs that when you have a right to left wind, you throw it on a little bit of hyzer and crank on it, and you can get all 400 feet with a T-Bird, which is just great to do sometimes when you're playing with guys that are throwing destroyers and stuff like that to try to get 400 feet. So, get one. Then, a recent addition to the bag, super recent addition, Star T-Bird. This thing's 167, only disc that I have that's that light. Once again, my wife's stamp on there. Great disc. This thing is, I don't know what happened with Innova, but they found some older T-Birds, the pre-flight number Star T-Birds with patent numbers, pre-WW tooling, and we got some for our local club, and they put my wife's stamp on it, which is awesome. So I was out there testing this not too long ago, cranked it out about 400 feet as hard as I can in a straight line, and it instantly went in the bag. I see this thing becoming a go-to for a while, maybe until it's beat, and then maybe lean off of it, not throw it as much. Then my drivers, I'm not big into distance drivers, but I do have ones for what I do and ones for what I need. I'm going to start off with the most overstable one. I've got a Star Destroyer 175. This one has patent numbers. It's an early Jenkins. This thing is a meat hook. I can get this out maybe, if I'm lucky, 350, and that's cranking on it. I can flick it, I can flick roll it. This thing is just one of those trustworthy destroyers that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was told PD2 top, but I'm not too sure about that. I just know that the thing is ridiculously overstable, and it's great for what it's used for. I have a bottom stamp destroyer, which I flick when I don't need something as overstable. It's a freshie. Or if I need something, 330 to 375, depending on how much power I put on it, that's gonna hyzer. I just crank it in a straight line and it goes, and it's one of those discs that throw it to a headwind straight and it acts like a dead straight wraith. It's a great destroyer. Then I have this blue destroyer that was given to me, and this thing is amazing. It's got patent numbers as well. It's glass. I can't even describe the type of Star plastic that it is. The thing is just got tons of glide. It's overstable enough to where you can trust it into winds, but not overstable enough to where you can't throw it. Every once in a while, I'll get this thing out, maybe 360, 370 with minimal effort. But you know, I don't really throw destroyers for distances like that. I tend to throw destroyers for, there's a certain window, and it's like 320 to 350 hyzer shots. And but this one is amazing, actually. I've never actually felt another destroyer like it. Then my distance drivers, my real distance drivers. I have a pre-flight number Wraith that I got from a local here. It's pop top, thing is stable. I can throw it on an Annie and it comes out. Recently we played a temporary course that we had down here that had a 700 foot plus hole. Threw this off the tee, and according to UDisc, we only had left, I think it was 260 feet, so that's 440 feet. That's one of the farthest throws I've ever done. And I started with Annie, came out of it too, so it's a great disc to have. Then I have an Archon. A lot of people don't throw Archons, but it's just like owning a beat Wraith. I can throw this thing, and I hyzer flip this thing all the time. When I need to get, you know, between 330 to 360, maybe 370, with minimal effort, but get up and over something. Whereas the Valkyrie will go straight that distance. This I want to throw over trees or something of that nature. Throw a big Annie around something. I can throw this thing. I know it'll come out at the end. It's in the Jolly Launcher plastic. It got put in the bag about 8 months ago, 9 months ago, because I lost my beat-in Wraith, and it's just that. The thing is amazing. Then lastly, my ultra distance driver. This is the farthest I've ever thrown a disc. I threw this thing just under 500 feet about 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago. It's a Champion Turn, max weight. This thing, I just ripped it flat, and the glide that this thing had was amazing. It tailed over to the right for, I would say, from my starting point, about 40-50 feet, but when it finally came back and everything was all said and done and measured, it was just shy of 500 feet. I can't say enough about it. It's what I wish a destroyer was. It's one of those things that you beat a destroyer, supposedly they go so far. Well, you beat a destroyer, it's only going to go so far. It doesn't have the glide that this thing has, and the plastic just feels great. It's super durable. And those are actually the discs in my bag. I carry one towel, a mini that I've had since the start of the season. I've played now 2 seasons, and the beginning of each season, I pull out a new mini. We got a little collection of them, me and my wife. So this one is the 2013 season mini. Lastly, as far as player status, this weekend this is November 22nd, 2013, this weekend will be my last amateur tournament other than the Amateur Worlds. I'm going to try or attempt pro in the 2014 season, and I want to give a big thanks to my family for putting up with me, and obviously my disc life. I want to thank my wife for her involvement, my son for inspiration. I want to thank my sponsor, Dip Your Car. Check them out, dipyourcar.com. Brad and the crew over there. They're my sponsor for my 2014 season. And other than that, keep them flying straight. Have a good one.